Development Goals for 2030, the AU Strategy for Gender Equality and Women Empowerment covering the period 2018 to 2028, noting the third men's conference on positive masculinity in leadership to end violence towards women and girls in Africa, with the theme of towards the AU Convention for the Elimination of Violence Towards Women and Girls. The men's conference, was held in November 2023 in Pretoria, South Africa. Reaffirming that violence towards women and girls is in violation of their fundamental rights, their fundamental freedom, and also hinders their human development. It therefore has a negative impact on social and economic development at the global level, emphasizing that violence towards women and girls takes various forms, be it physical violence, psychological violence, intimidation, sexual violence, social violence, forced marriage, early marriage, female genital mutilation, political violence, and violence in conflicts. Considering the economic, political, and security context in Sahel, a situation that is placing the population in extreme precarity, and unfortunately, political and individual sanctions imposed on this country in transition has a negative impact. Considering that perhaps Women Caucus doesn't have the necessary financial resources to implement its action plan, the conference recommends what follows: that the MPs call upon their respective governments so that they will accelerate the ratification and implementation of the mechanisms that will allow to domesticate the protocols to the African Charter relating to the rights of women in Africa. MPs should also advocate for the universal ratification. So they should advocate for states that have not yet ratified for them to do so. With UN Women's important support, we should organize the 15th Pan-African Parliament Conference on Women's Rights, which will adopt the theme of political violence against women, so that we can take stock of the various issues and review the various strategies, notably because
des élections en Afrique en raison du nombre sans précédent de pays qui organiseront des élections, notamment au Botswana, octobre 2024, en Éthiopie, au Malawi, à Madagascar, à Maurice, Mozambique, Rwanda, Somalie, Soudan du Sud,
Somalia, South Sudan, South Africa. The Comoros and Chad will also be organizing their elections in 2024. The Parliament as well as the national governments should support women and also adopt or amend laws in order to promote women's political participation, in order to ensure equal participation for men and women. They should also be involved in the decision-making processes and a conducive context should be created for women through the promotion of their political rights, social, political, economic, cultural rights. Member states will support women in the political arena by providing the necessary financial resources, and they should also train candidates. The Pan-African Parliament and national parliaments will establish mechanisms in order to monitor the implementation of PAP's recommendations. It was also essential to establish a framework to review and monitor the AU's instruments relating to human rights and governance when they concern women. The Pan-African Parliament will establish a Pan-African Observatory for Women in order to monitor the situation and to adopt an index that will allow to determine compliance. There will be rewards for the more performing actors. PAP will also ensure that commitments made as far as eliminating violence towards girls and women, these commitments are upheld. We should analyze statistical data, implement legal instruments, and present reports on the progress made and challenges faced in the area of gender. There should also be sharing of best practices. The Pan-African Parliament, through the Women's Caucus, will organize in 2024 the celebration of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence from November 25th to December 10th. Within all of our national parliaments, we should organize massive days to fight gender-based violence. The Pan-African Parliament, through its Gender Committee, will propose a model law on gender-based violence, including a chapter or section, on political violence towards women, and concerning also gender parity at the decision-making level in the political arena. The African Union and the regional institutions will no longer impose political and individual sanctions on countries in transition, in particular in the Sahel region, because these sanctions have devastating effects on the population already affected by the situation, in particular women. The Pan-African Parliament will head an awareness-raising exercise and also work towards establishing partnership to increase gender budgeting at the national level, and will also promote strategic investments in the private and public sector in order to reach gender equality. The Women's Caucus will be able to directly mobilize funds and resources with partners in order to build their financial and technical capacity to allow them to implement their activities. The activities of the Women's Caucus and the Women's Conference should be delocalized, decentralized towards member states in order to increase the visibility of the Women's Caucus. Special resolutions. The Women's Caucus would like to present a special vote of thanks to the acting president of the Pan-African Parliament and to the third vice president for their leadership, and also for availing the necessary resources that allowed the convening of the 14th Conference on Women's Rights, held in Addis Ababa and hosted by the National Parliament of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. The Women's Caucus in PAP would like to thank the UN agencies, in particular UN Women, the representatives of development institutions, development partners, academia, women's organizations, youth organizations. Thank you for actively taking part in the 14th Conference on Women's Rights. The strategic plan for the period 2019 to 2023, adopted by the Pan-African Parliament, will reach completion in December of will end in December of 2023. The conference notes that the Women's Caucus must define its priority strategic actions for the future 2024-2028 strategic plan. And we request that consultations be organized in 2024 in order to extensively discuss issues and in order to also integrate the Women's Caucus in these consultations. Addis Ababa, December 29th, 2023. The participants.
Merci, Honorable Président.
Thank you, Honorable. As we had announced in the beginning, we would like you to share your proposals, amendments, whatever has not been taken into account via email or other communication channels. I now have the honor to invite His Excellency Dos Passos, third Vice President of the Pan-African Parliament, for the vote of thanks. You have the floor. Her Excellency, sorry.
On peut faire ça? Tu peux pour
comme ça a été applaudi. Non, applaudi pour eux, c'est pas l'adoption. Vous demandez l'adoption et si elles ont des recommandations ou des propositions, ils peuvent laisser et puis on va intégrer. Quand on va envoyer la version finale.
Je m'excuse, Excellence.
Apology, Excellency, for asking you to stand prematurely. I thought that we had adopted by acclamation these recommendations. So we have brought these draft recommendations to your attention for formal adoption, pending the amendments that you're going to share with us, and the final version will be compiled and shared with you. However, in the meantime, we'd like to have your approval, and we'll be including your amendments. Please. Yes, I do understand that we're going to have to send our amendments, but we cannot applaud without knowing what amendments are proposed. Maybe we will not agree with those amendments. So what are you going to do? If we approve by acclamation, shouldn't we actually let people share their amendments now?
We spent 2 days. We did great job. Now we have got the final communique, and I would like to ask some of you to move motion to adopt this communique. One of you, please. Yes, Honorable.
Acting President, I think, first of all, the communication was read and we were able to listen and follow through in English. But I think we can, in principle, propose to adopt the recommendation subject to amendments and recommendations by members that are here, and members that are not here. What I would ask the Secretariat is that you have the communication in all languages shared in all the respective walls, giving people a timeline to send in their recommendations. So whereas we adopt the recommendations, we are adopting it subject to amendments based on recommendations by various members. And then at that point, we will still share the final one, and that will be then the accepted version, which we would have adopted today. So if that's agreeable with all members, then I propose the adoption of the recommendation subject to amendments, and really urge the Secretariat to share draft copies to in all languages. Thank you.
We really sorry for that inconvenience. As you know, because of time factor, we were not able to translate to different languages. But as Honorable Member Passalis proposed, we will adapt the communique. We subject to amendments, to the future amendments. Second.
I second the adoption.
We table for adoption. Can you adopt?
Merci, Excellence, je vous laisse le continue. É assim é que se faz. Confiamos uns nos outros, com a solidariedade, e vamos terminar, portanto, com as nossas atividades com toda a alegria, assim como começamos. Nós vamos terminar. Eu, em nome da mesa e em nome da senhora Presidente da Caucus das Mulheres, senhora Amina Tidjane, queríamos agradecer profundamente a Sua Excelência, o Presidente interino, Dr. Achíber Gayo, pelo seu engajamento, pela colaboração para a estadia das nossas deputadas e os membros da sociedade civil, bem como também o pagamento das refeições. Ele fez um contributo especial.
Including the payment of all our meals. So we need to acknowledge the engagement of people in charge of our institutions. So I would like to propose a round of applause for his presence throughout the 2 days here with us. Our thanks are also extended to all members of parliament, males and females alike, that left their own families and houses at this season, festive season, where everyone is preparing to be with relatives and friends. However, they left all this to be here to deal and discuss very important issues, such the rights of women, as it was discussed here. And we would also like to thank to all the members of parliament here present for your recommendations and active participation. Thank equally to all participants and our partners who are here physically or virtually, and who contributed for the success of the fourth conference. We also thank the Republic, Federal and Democratic of Ethiopia Parliament and also thank in particular the Speaker and the Deputy Speakers and all collaborators and all everyone that started working even before our arrival to ensure that our stay here is as agreeable as possible. So thank you to the Ethiopian Parliament. We'd also like to thank to all our participants, to all the moderators, the second Vice President, Madam Victoria, who moderated our conference, helped by Madam Amina and Madam Owa. Our thanks are equally extended to all the PAP officers that who are here and who left or even did not take their holidays, which are due at this period of time, to be here with us. We thank equally to our interpreters who enabled our communication. We did not face any difficulties in terms of communication due to this kind of people that are invisible but are very important because they convey the messages with confidence. We thank to everyone involved, the director of ceremonies, the panelists, and all involved in this 14th Pan-African Parliament Conference on Women's Rights. We wish you all a good festive season and all the best for you. And on behalf of all women, girls, and children, we say long live the African Parliament, the Pan-African Parliament.
Merci, Excelência.
Muito obrigada, Sua Excelência, deputada Lúcia dos Passos. Agora tenho a honra de convidar o presidente em exercício para o seu discurso de encerramento.
Your Excellency, Honorable Lucia, Vice President of Pan-African Parliament, Excellency Honorable Amina, Chairperson of Women Caucus, Your Excellency Honorable Victoria, Second Vice President of Women's Caucus, Honorable Members of Pan-African Parliament, Honorable MPs from National Parliament of Ethiopia, especially from Women's Caucus, civil society, PAP Secretariat led by Iron Woman, Wawa, our interpreters, media, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me at this stage to congratulate you for a successful completion of accomplishment of Women's Conference held here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, political capital of Africa. Dear colleagues, in these 2 days, we have covered many topics which are critically important to women's rights. Among others, how to achieve the women's and girls' rights, how to prevent violence against women and girls, how to make sure full participation of women of Africa, how to give better opportunity to our women, how to champion Maputo Protocol, what roles can be played by our women as we are moving towards implementation of Agenda 2063. The Pan-African Parliament Women's Caucus, the Bureau of Pan-African Parliament, and civil society gathered here, committed to work as a level-based for the respect of women and the girls of Africa. More so, we called up on the head of states, AU Commission and the people of Africa to step up to fight violence against women and girls and to double up the effort to respect women's and girls' rights. Dear colleagues, year 2023 in the history of Pan-African Parliament can be characterized by its unique incidents where Bureau members and other leaders, we all wanted to stay in power by avoiding democratic elections. For this purpose and to occupy positions without elections, we tried to amend rules with no care for its compliance with the protocol to treaty establishing African Economic Community relating to Pan-African Parliament. Honorable members, distinguished guests, PAP is greater than individuals' interests. And we sworn in to defend and protect the protocol. So there is no way that we can break the protocol when we want to stay in office without elections. It was in that spirit many of parliamentarians fought the fight and defeated those who wanted to violate our protocol and wanted to extend their tenure in office. Excellencies, thanks for the unwavering commitment of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Moussa Faki, who engaged the African Union Legal Council, who later tabled to him legal opinion to suspend the amendment, which is not in compliance with the protocol. Following the suspension, it should be also clear nothing strange has happened, except it will only remind us to respect the protocol Article 1210, which says any vacancy at Bureau of Pan-African Parliament should be filled immediately at the next sitting following the occurrence of the vacancies. Those vacant positions at Pan-African Parliament are position for the presidency, for first vice president and fourth vice president. And it should be filled as soon as possible through democratic elections. Honorable members, invited guests, as PAP, we can't afford to leave those individuals who left Pan-African Parliament without committee sittings and sessions, who let us down. They should be accountable. They should be investigated. Following that findings, they should be sanctioned. In line with this, Pan-African Parliament is drafting code of conduct which can be used as a guiding principle to prevent misbehavior, corruption, power abuse, and democratic approach to this very democratic institution. Honorable members, as we seek for your support to perform our duties, we also stay committed to live at the expectation of each and every members of Pan-African Parliament. Excellencies, as Bureau, we are fully aware that some of us trying to divide parliamentarians, staff, and even leadership just to be in power at any cost. So we need to safeguard this unity cultivated by our founding fathers of this union. Honorable members, it's also another duty to re-establish our relations with African Union, European Commission too. As you know, European Union suspended all collaborations and activities because of ignorance to the letter addressed to PAP regarding sexual assault allegations against former president of Pan-African Parliament. As I said, 2023 was so difficult for PAP. But why it was happened? Why was that? It was because the decisions were taken without sticking on principles. In violation of the protocol, the rules of procedures were violated. Just many decisions were taken to make individuals happy. That was why today we are paying price. We are facing serious challenge to the extent PAP will require African Union interventions in the ruling. Honorable members of PAP, on behalf of Pan-African Parliament, Bureau, and my own behalf, I would like to assure you that we keep PAP functioning. Move forward, facilitate your continuous and disrupted meetings and sittings. Excellencies, dear parliamentarians, today we made history as we gave priority to this conference where we are championing women's and girls' rights during this festive month. Let me take this opportunity once again to congratulate you all for this successful conference. Excellencies, it won't be appropriate if I won't tell you who are behind this success. It was our staff. My special thanks to Madame Wawa, who canceled their vacation, annual leave, and committed to make success this conference and this to happen. May I ask you to give her another round of applause. Betty and Sable, who worked 24/7, and also they deserved your hand. Malini, Janjalo, IT departments also, they deserve it. Our interpreters, we are proud of you. It was impossible without your professional support. Thanks to you also. Last but not least, I would like to thank the people and government of Ethiopia who generously hosted this important conference. May also you give them another round of applause. Secretariat of Ethiopian Parliament, they also deserve it. Women's Caucus of Ethiopia, who are sitting behind you. Honorable members, we just met yesterday after quite long time. We just saw each other yesterday. We gathered yesterday. Still, we are missing each other. Unfortunately, we don't have more time to interact. Hope we will meet again and again soon. Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed here, allow me to declare closed 14th Women's Conference of Pan-African Parliament and wish you safe journey back to your respective countries. Happy New Year. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Obrigado. Shukran. Asante sana. Amasagnalo.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. On my humble personal name and on behalf of my colleague from the PAP Secretariat, we would like to thank you for this recognition, and we are happy and humble to serve you and your bureau, as well as those other organs of the Pan-African Parliament. Thank you very much. J'ai juste deux petites annonces à faire. La première concerne l'excursion qui est gracieusement offerte par le Parlement de l'Éthiopie, qui nous invite à visiter un institut d'intelligence artificielle, qui est l'un des centres les plus grands en Afrique et que nous vous recommandons vivement. Donc cette excursion se tiendra juste après la clôture de notre conférence et vous allez aller visiter cet institut. La deuxième, donc pour moi, est aussi notre reconnaissance du dîner qui est offert ce soir par le Parlement éthiopien. Je pense que c'est à 19h. 7 o'clock is okay? Yes. À partir de 19h, et les bus viendront vous chercher à l'hôtel. Ça se tiendra dans un hôtel de la place, à Capital Hotel. Merci.
I would like to invite you to listen to the anthem, Ethiopian anthem, and Pan-African anthem. Thank you.
We lost sound.